Welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, sharing this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome. Welcome back if you have. My intention is unity and oneness. This is going to be part 2 of a video I did this morning, well, a little bit ago. Just with some inflow messages with the guides. And so I just kind of want to see what comes through. And I wasn't very clear on some of the energies that have been going on. I wanted to kind of give a recap on that. Where to begin? I think I'm just going to go and drop into flow, and then we'll go from there. And so you seek clarity, and many of us seek clarity in this spin that we are all feeling shuffled around and encapsulated within, so to speak. We are in a great time of massive disturbances. And yet within these disturbances come I'm seeing a ladder, a moving up, if you will, an escalation, an escalator, something that is changing the direction or the course in which we have been moving before. An unseen force, one might call it, that we can each and every one of us feel. And many of us are feeling called to clarify, to explain what this force is. We will play with this for a moment. There is a neural network of accelerated aspects of the human that are amping up, if you will, that are becoming reactivated, that are moving into new docking stations. We might say that there are other stations that are moving out. And so we are in a great at certain times, the ocean is calm. At other times, the ocean is rough. At this moment, the ocean is in a period of movement. And the movement can be felt inside of us. For each and every one of us is the quantum extension of the entirety of the ocean. And so earlier we made reference to grapes and wine, and we might draw more attention currently to the distillation process. We might reference this time as a distillation process, a way in which we allow the fullness and the varietals to be brought forward. We allow the fullness and the variety to be felt. As we move through this ocean of complexity, we would invite you to continually get back to the simplicity of the cornerstone, one might say, of reality. The ability to connect in with our own synchronicity is key right now. For we are being pulled in many different directions. And the wedge that we were referencing earlier, that is being pressed between us, we might say, is actually a new way of harnessing reality. Let us play for a moment and weave with this. Our ability to perceive reality has been heightened. I'm hearing game on. Trying to find a quiet space. Had to regroup. Ewa shikuaha ini akiahe eni eshuya o akuaha ini. And so the full spectrum of what we can and are willing to see is shifting. We cannot see what we are not willing to see. And so many of us are having a riveting and jolting time in this moment in reality, in this space of what seems like hostility. And yet, it is oftentimes within this hostility that our fragility and strengths can be seen. We invite all who are listening, feeling, in this ocean or this motion of commotion, if you will, to feel and perceive through the commotion. For much is being dropped in, if you will, when you drop in, to feel into the frequency that is being birthed from within this full spectrum of humanity. For each of us is birthing, and each of us is carrying forward a full spectrum. I'm hearing dynamite, play on words. The ability to perceive reality is enhanced when we are able to see beyond the reality that is being projected through this, I'm hearing oceanography. So it's a play on words, like a graph of the ocean. It's like what oftentimes we're seeing is just a graph. It's not the actual ocean. And it's full of distortions that are being replicated. These replicated distortions are the surface disturbance. They are surface anomalies, if you will. And while they have an impact, the greater anomaly is the human to move through this without feeling the brunt of it, if you will. So I'm seeing like without being fully impacted by the distortions. But as I'm saying this, I was seeing a reference earlier to there's like this other distortion that's coming in that's actually even, it's a bigger disruption is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing eruption, disruption. It's like beyond these surface distortions. Many of us are witnessing a program, if you will, that has been programmed into the matrix of society, of reality, of hostility. And while this is playing out with ferocity, lots of rhymes here, we would invite you to feel beyond this, for it is in the feeling of what is beyond this that the real perception begins to come alive, begins to wake up, if you will. For the wedge of deception that is being forced in between us is mechanical. It is not natural selection, one might call it. This is kind of braiding back in with, like, we've been taught survival is our way of being, which is not true. I'm hearing already people go, well, according to science, it is. And then it's according to, well, who wrote the books kind of thing. And I'm hearing, who wrote the book of love? And so we would invite you to feel into this deeper perception. This deeper innate perception feels beyond the deception that is being wielded as a weapon. This will not be our demise, one might say. For those of us who are feeling beyond, hold a deeper insight, a keen awareness, the key to the deeper, the deeps, the depths of inner awareness. And this opens the reception to the message bringers, one might say. This ability to perceive and interact with the message of the day. And the message of the day is sisterhood, brotherhood, deeper reflections, a whole new insight to how our reality is bound together and how we are bound innately to one another. Rather than creating more actions that disturb the surface, we would invite you to not be disturbed by surface ripples, and yet nevertheless to recognize that you are the ripples that weave together the new reality structure. We invite you to feel in your hearts the close compatibility, to feel the rush, if you will, of being human, to recognize the humanity in our brothers and sisters who do not recognize the humanity within themselves. This does not mean we are meant to look past the shadow or to ignore its place in all of this. This does not mean that we continue to use our resources unnecessarily or create patterns that are unnecessarily harmful to humanity. For violence is a constricting force.
Going down there.
Hold on.
Okay.
Yes. My husband didn't know where I was. Like, are you okay? Yes, honey, just talking with the guides. We invite those of you who can see past the violent tendencies of those who have gone, I'm hearing south, like down, I guess, one perspective in a different direction. And we would invite you to support those who are in need of support, who have been affected, who are feeling ineffectual, who need affection by those who are on attack mode or in attack mode is what I'm hearing. We would invite you to open your hearts to receive more of your own inner resources and to send out the signals that command the forces of the highest good, of the highest trajectory of carefree. I'm hearing like bliss, joy, love, support, freedom. I'm seeing, yeah. And to not distort the signals. We are allowed to feel sadness. We're allowed to feel lost at times. We're allowed, it's a play on words, I'm hearing allowed, like we're allowed to say what we feel out loud. We're allowed to feel this out loud. It's a sound. And to feel for our brothers and sisters who are suffering, to feel our own suffering at times. And yet this is surface. It's temporary. We would invite you to ignite this internal flame of what's truly right. And I'm seeing this as a play on words. It's an angle. It's when they say right, I'm hearing degrees of variation. It isn't about right or wrong. It's about what fits and what doesn't fit. It's about recognizing that we all hold pieces of this divine landscape or divine architecture or puzzle. And rather than fighting to fit the pieces together or fighting to line things up when they're misaligned, move back into alignment with ourselves, with our brothers and sisters, right? So that we can electrify the field. For the field is being electrified and ignited as we speak. Play on words. So the guides are showing me that there's this massive influx of energies that are coming in right now that we're being blasted with. And this is going to continue for a while. But if we're so electrified that we're not able to support ourselves, or we're feeling so out of balance that we're not able to, I'm just hearing we're like, what is it, pyromaniacs? Like, don't just light stuff on fire to light stuff on fire because we're angry or we're frustrated. I have a bug in my ear. Crazy hair day. They're just showing me that the lines are blurred right now. So, not going in like reacting to the point where we're doing this thing. I'm hearing reacting, creating the impacting. It's impacting more again and again in a negative way. It's like, let's utilize our resources to come together. This is inside us as well. The wedge that we were referring to in the previous recording has more to do with an energetic disturbance in the field. So while the energetic disturbance in the field is being electrified currently on a positive note, the yin and yang or yin and yang frequencies of black and white, it's like an equal disturbance. It's like one disturbance happens, another disturbance happens. And so we must continually breathe, balance, so that we can allow ourselves to rise above the surface, see below, to see into the depths, to see below the low. I'm basically being shown like not just seeing the dark in everything, but also seeing what else is coming through. We must be able to look full spectrum, 360 degrees, and stop. There's a saying for it, but I'm seeing like where you cut off your hand to spite your face. Is that a saying? Like taking pieces from one thing in order to create completeness is not the way in completeness. The energies that are bombarding us are full of light codes. You may think of them as mathematical combinations that are held within I'm seeing a proton, but it's more than that. I'm hearing photon, and I'm also seeing phonetics. So it's a play on words. It allows us to feel with more senses on, or we could say it allows us to turn our senses on as long as we turn inward before we turn outward. I'm seeing people doing their laundry and taking out their trash, like, the stuff that we're supposed to do in order to kind of create that cleanliness within or organization. For many of us are so tuned into the disorganization, the disharmony, the disillusion that is causing us to feel disillusion and back to distilled. It distills the frequencies that are coming in, and it is, I'm seeing this as really weird. This is going to sound really weird, but almost it's like you have this distillation that comes in. So they're using it in two different terms here. One is that it distills it so we're not feeling it as much. When we have a lot of heavy stuff coming on, the light that's coming in, it's like not as potent. It's distilled. So in essence, it's kind of balancing it out a little bit in a weird way, weird, wacky way. And for some, this is necessary because they are so used to playing in the dark that the light will only overwhelm them. This is not truly necessary if you look at it from a higher perspective. Yet some are choosing this And so the choice is yours. Open to your own inner resource. Feel and sense how resourceful you can be without getting lost in the sea, the shuffle of energy. Fine tune your senses so that you can feel the real synchronicity, not the simulation, not the simulated reality that we are entrained to see through. Like I'm seeing with lenses, the lens of perception, right? We invite you to see past this false storm, false sense, false screen that is only holds small nuggets of truth. And while there is a painful surge currently that is being simultaneously reactivated, the human suffering, we could call it, we are simultaneously shifting our directive and activating the human genome that is clarity, that is a sense of security, like not a false sense of security, but like inner being secure in being connected to something bigger than the, the not the material, but the green screen kind of, they're saying the projection, like that's not all of it's real. We invite you to hold and uplift one another. We invite you to feel into the full spectrum of feelings. We invite you to live life to its fullest, to feel the fullness from moment to moment, while walking through this world with compassion, open eyes, open hearts, open minds. For through this openness comes more resource, more resourcefulness, landwords, a feeling of completeness, wholeness, a wholesome unity can then be perceived underneath all of the surface tension. A relief, a sigh of relief is breathed. As we breathe in unity, as we use our breath to bring in serenity, to breathe out serenity, to hold one another in the greatest of responsibility. It's not a sense of holding each other responsible. It's our ability to respond with support and compassion rather than anger and accusation. For we are all walking on this path as one organism. What we each individually do affects the whole, the greater. And yet we are in a new era of expansion. This expansive framework is adapting, moving, and adjusting. For as we adapt, move, and adjust, it resets. It moves and adjusts with us. Reality, earth, air, elements, every piece of the puzzle morphs with our state of flow. And so we share this message now in alignment with flow, with a sense of adaptability. And we invite all to open into this greater space of fluidity to birth this reality in unity together so that we can more consistently feel beyond the surface feelings, beyond the doubt, and I'm hearing without, like lack, all of that. Feel into the deeper essence of who you really are, what you are really capable of. For there is much more than meets the eye. So it is. I guess we weren't going to really go into the physics as much as I thought we were, but in love and light, namaste.